Disco.
Disco.
All
Thanks
right.
for
Welcome to the Guns for Everyone podcast. Don't forget to donate
right off the bat.
right off the bat.
Did you see? Speaking of which, did you see our latest 1-star review?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah,
Was it on Google?
yeah, on the Googles.
Oh, I'll have to go
Are you,
look for
are you
this.
gonna try and find it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's entertaining. Our latest 1-star review is pretty fucking entertaining.
Was this on a day that you did the debrief?
I always do the debrief.
Yeah.
Every time I do the debrief,
Woo.
I very few times do I not do the debrief. Um, is it still there?
Yep. Took the class and was made to feel very uncomfortable with even being there. Sounds like a you problem. The free class with donations. Wait, free class with donations. So I paid the 20 ahead of time. That is false. It is not a requirement. Makes it sound like it's a requirement. Ahead of time, but was immediately hit with more donation requests several times before, during, and after the class. I wanted to get a concealed carry, but it wasn't for everyone, as they claim, since the atmosphere was way too aggressive, rude, and beggy for money. I'll just open carry or find a less abrasive class to receive mine. Huh. Okay. Couple things. No record of you attending a class. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean you didn't. Just not record. And if you did attend, why not bring this up when we give you the opportunity to? Every class has a debrief. Students often have to ask if there's any way to donate. We mention our funding source at the beginning of the class because this question gets asked a lot. At the end of the class, we provide ways people can donate. So that's twice something about donations is mentioned. If a 501c asking for donations makes you uncomfortable, don't benefit from their services. Thank you, John Perkins. Local guide, 56 reviews.
56
Let's just go see how many times he gives a 1-star review. Gave a 1-star review to Dairy Queen. Gave a 1-star review to Live Well Dispensary. Gave a 1-star review to Jenny's Market. Gave a 1-star review for Wendy's, for McDonald's, for Circle K, for Big O Tires, Jack in the Box. Oh my God, this dude's on a tear. Wow. He does like Skyline Mitsubishi though, 5 stars.
5 stars. The one place they talk about fucking high pressure sales.
I know.
The one fucking spot.
Wow.
Oh,
Dude, this guy just he lives on this.
On the 1-star stuff.
Wow. To give them a small amount of credit, they're not all 5s and 1s. There's a few 3s in there. So, yeah. Wow, it seems like he's been to every auto, small-time auto sales place around. Oh, this is
and I bet you the 1-star review is like, this guy tried selling me a car. The audacity.
This guy gave a 1-star review to the original Chubby's Mexican food. So I think
you can't trust somebody who.
If you do that, I think you get deported.
You like straight to fucking jail.
Straight to jail.
Straight to El Salvador.
Deported straight out of Mexico. I mean, yeah. Well, you can't please them all.
You can't please them all.
Well, good for him. I'm happy for him. Got it off his chest. So just to reiterate, the whole purpose of doing something for free is to, well, one of the purposes is to lower the barrier. But just to give you an idea of expenses, I spent $300 yesterday on toner for a printer that all I do is print certificates.
Yeah. $300?
Well, I mean, it's a laser printer. It's a hefty printer. It's one that you talked me into buying.
Yeah,
so,
I'm just wondering why you spent $300.
I'm wondering too.
We're spending I think it's $80 for our toner.
For one
Yeah, it's
cartridge or
just
for
one.
all?
Just
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
I had to buy all 4 cartridges.
Oh, because you do the color one.
Yeah,
Ah, yeah,
yeah.
we only have the black one
So,
because racism.
yeah. That's all the white people will let you have. Um, yeah, so if it was just black and white, it'd be 80, but still, I mean, that's just toner.
It's just
Uh, yeah, so, um, we need donations. Now, I had an interesting experience this week in people asking for donations, and this is what makes it hard for me to ask for donations because when I hear other people do it, it can feel really slimy.
yeah, for sure. I
Um,
don't like asking for donations. I
yeah.
fucking hate it. I hate it.
So I listened to a podcast that has been on the air for 18 years, and
No
it's been a
agenda.
donation, what no agenda. It's been a donation model the whole time, and they've made enough money to keep the podcast going. And they do a donation segment where they read out everybody's donations, and some people give them like a few $1,000s a month in donations. So they're like my model of understanding why you ask for donations
Correct.
and how to do it. The event, I'll get into the event I went to, but the event I went to on Monday night was a political campaign donation type thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any way to do that without feeling slimy as hell.
Correct.
So, because I just fundamentally don't believe in what they're doing. So, like, there's no way I'm going to feel like them calling for donations is worth anybody's time. So,
Yeah. On
but I
that note,
understand. I mean, they have to do it if they're going to get elected. They have to. So
there's
they
nowhere.
don't have any choice.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
Well, it's everything though. It's either you pay for it
Hmm.
or you contribute to it one way or another, volunteering, whatever the case may be. And
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people forget is that. But speaking of events, I do want to talk about the event you participated in, and then the 1 month almost event that I've been a part of that I think we should cover with Fippy and all that shit.
Well, let's give Fippy the first place to in the list. So because these politicians don't deserve much more of our attention. So let's start with Fippy.
Well, the problem with Fippy this time is a lot of political shit was part of it. So Fippy had a webinar, and we'll post it on our website. But I think it's important to kind of highlight that they have it on their website. I want to see if I still have it relatively easy. I don't. So I'll try and pull it up, but you guys can look it up. Colorado Firearms Injury Prevention Initiative, and they recently had a webinar, and you can find it on YouTube. And the webinar was to explain laws that just became law, legislation that just came into effect, the ERPOs, safe storage, and how they're being implemented and how they're helping, not helping, just data. That was the whole point of the webinar, just data. But obviously, from our point of view and from our perspective, there's a lot of shit that gets said that very quickly turns into, it sounds like you are trying to make this sound like a positive.
Hmm.
Um, and even if they don't mean to, right? Like I went as far as downloading the transcripts so I can take the tone away and I can take all that shit away and just read the words. And I, even after reading some of the words, I still felt like, yeah, it seemed like they were trying to give it a positive spin. And a lot of it was just like, nah, that's probably just my emotions, and that's probably just the way I feel negatively about the way they presented it. So it was this weird balance. It's still good. It's nice to understand where, especially the ERPOs, how they're being implemented, who's implementing it. One of the things that I found out today, that I went to a Fippy meeting, and this was at the Anschutz campus out in Aurora. And we were talking about this data. And one of the things that I had never considered, I don't know if you considered this, but and makes me hate the ERPOs even more, the red flag laws, for those of you guys that don't.
And when he says ERPO, he means Extreme Risk Protection Order, or
Correct.
ERPO.
ERPOs or red flag laws. One of the things I never considered, in I read the laws a lot, not because I want to, but we almost seem forced to read the laws a lot. And one of the things that I never considered till I brought up today, there was a conversation about how judges are not fond of the ERPO laws, because here in Colorado, for sure, it doesn't tell them what evidence to look at. It just says the judge is going to make a decision, and a lot of judges are like, I don't have a guideline. Usually I have a guideline that tells me these are, I'm looking at these 5 points, and if they do this and this evidence. And with the ERPOs, it's kind of up to me to decide whether or not this fucking is enough or not enough.
So remind me, when a ERPO is filed, does the person who's being targeted by the ERPO have a chance to say anything before the order is approved or not approved?
So this is the weird thing. This is kind of we do have, there's technically two. There's the temporary extreme risk protection order, and that's the one where the judge is like, "Yep, let's issue it." And then they come and make contact with you, and then they take the guns away. So you technically don't have a hearing until that temporary extreme risk protection order. Let's make sure the guns are away. And in fairness, as much as I hate this, that's how all restraining orders kind of work.
Yeah.
If they're assault or anything like that, is we got to make sure the guns are taken away. Now, my experience with regular restraining orders is it's kind of just I fill out the paperwork and say the guns are not there. There's
Mhm.
no actual cops coming in and taking the guns away, and it's just you signing a piece of paper saying the guns are no longer with me. That's all it is. No actual verification. I'm assuming that it works the same way, but I don't know. And once that temporary extreme risk protection order is granted, if it's granted, then they have 14 days to have a hearing. And in that hearing is really when they decide, yep, we're going to make it permanent, or we're going to dismiss this, one of the two. If it
And permanent is 364 days, right?
correct,
Okay.
364 days.
So at that point, you get to make your case.
Correct, in that hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if something gets filed and there is no temporary extreme risk protection order granted, the temporary one, until you get the hearing, you never find out that somebody tried to petition against you. So you never have an opportunity to file charges or like any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things. Good, it didn't go through, but at the same time, is like, why is somebody trying to do this shit?
Now, I can't remember in Colorado, do you have some kind of recourse if you feel like this was filed what's the word I'm looking for? With
Malice?
malice, yeah.
No, I mean it's basically that's it. It's up to the court to decide whether or not they're going to file charges.
Mhm.
As far as we know, it's only the one that was up north in Larimer County.
Yeah.
Um, one of the very first ones that happened. That was the only one that she was charged and convicted for that.
Wasn't there I think, it's possible there was another one in Aurora recently. Um,
The one, all the data that they showed was only that. So
okay.
they do talk about that data,
Okay.
and it was only one.
Okay. Um, yeah, so the judge has no guidance, just has to make their own call. And if I'm sitting in the judge's chair and somebody's making this case to me, I have to think about, well, if I don't grant this T ERPO or the ERPO itself, then I'm risking that I'm somehow connected to a bad event, right? Because if this person doesn't get their guns taken away and they go on to hurt somebody, they're going to come back to me and say, why didn't you proceed with this ERPO?
That, and if you do issue it, and if it was done erroneously, um, it's a liability all the way across.
Yeah.
This is why a lot of clinicians, if you talk to a lot of clinicians are like, I don't even want to touch this shit.
Mhm.
There has been, if I remember correctly from the data, I think there's been like 6 clinicians who have filed in the, what is it, 4 years, 5 years that this has been going on
In Colorado.
in Colorado. So a lot of them are like, we don't want to touch this shit. Like we don't, because there's a lot of liability there. Like, what if you fuck it up? What if you get it wrong? What if whatever? All kinds
Mhm.
of shit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, what a mess. So that video covers safe storage and ERPOs?
It covers, yeah, the safe storage inside the house, outside the house. They call them caps because they're really only worried about kids.
Mhm.
And every other state calls them caps. So child access prevention or some shit like that.
Mhm.
But it's here in Colorado, just um the safe storage.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. I did find the video. It's, the YouTube channel name is CU, as in Colorado University, Firearm Injury Prevention Initiative, and it's just their latest video. It's about an
correct.
hour long.
Correct.
So, um, yeah, and you know, I don't agree with these laws in any way, shape, or form. And I think that there's a huge potential for abuse of these laws, and I don't think that they're ultimately effective. But one of the things I think that hurts the argument against them is, generally speaking, there's like this doom and gloom, like once these are filed, they're going to come take everybody's guns.
Yeah,
And the data doesn't show that. Not yet. Maybe
correct.
in time. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen at all. And I think that anytime it does happen, it raises serious questions about due process and our rights as humans. And like I said, I don't agree with them. But if I don't know what the data is, but if we know that there's approximately just under 2 million gun owners in the state of Colorado, and we have like 100 ERPOs filed a year in the whole state, it's really hard to make the argument that they're coming to take your firearms. And
Correct.
I think what this really means is we need to intelligently argue against these laws. Not not the risk that they're going to come take away your guns, but really the problem of, is this really helping people in crisis? Is this the way to help people in crisis, to file court orders and put, corner people, even if it's just mentally speaking, where they feel like everybody's out to get them? As
Yeah.
somebody who has a history with a friend who went through periods of paranoia, it sure doesn't help when the courts come after you. Like,
Correct.
you're not going to go out and seek help in those situations.
Correct.
You're going to try to protect yourself from the courts. And I think that that delays the real help that you
Well,
need.
in as much shit as a lot of people would give um Fippy, and
Mhm.
I get it, because if you start studying who's involved with Fippy and all that shit, you find out very quickly that these humans who work for the university, shocker, are not necessarily the most pro gun. They might be gun owners, but they're not pro gun. I hear that a lot. Well, I own guns. Like, I don't care.
Mhm.
Um, it's I still do believe that from that team, at least, we may not agree on policy, and I'll probably never agree with them on policy. Is they always push back on the bullshit,
Mhm.
and that being one of them is this law is stupid. And even if they agree with the law, them, Fippy, I don't. Um, and I'm not saying Fippy as an organization, Fippy,
As
the
a
individuals
Mhm.
within Fippy. Some of them, like, yeah, I do believe they're helping and blah blah blah, but they all agree. But it is bullshit, and it's really difficult to defend this law when you only take the guns away, and that's it.
Mhm.
There's no offer of mental health help. There's no resources provided. There's no checklist. There's no. there's no cool. We took the guns, but now what?
Right.
What's the plan now? And that's a big problem with this law. Other than it exists,
Yeah.
that's the biggest problem with the law is it exists.
So it's kind of like at this event I went to on Monday night. There was a presentation by Faster. Faster is the organization in Colorado that's trying to train teachers and staff at schools to carry firearms and respond to an active shooter situation, possibly as an armed individual. And we can point to safety records and say, oh, they've done a good job of not creating negative outcomes with firearms. They've good at doing a good job of getting training. But really, what you're really focusing your energy here is on, like, this is when everything else has gone wrong,
Yeah,
and we haven't. Where I'm not saying this doesn't exist, but where is the effort to prevent this kind of thing from happening?
correct.
Um, and I'm all for people arming themselves and being in a position where if they had to defend themselves, they have the means to do it. But clearly, we have a problem where kids keep deciding that they want to go murder their classmates,
Correct.
and we we need to focus on how we're going to prevent that. And I am not qualified to answer that. Um, but and we talked about this in the last episode, I think, about what the right solution is. And it's kind of like saying, well, we should have airbags in cars, but maybe we should also learn how to drive a little bit more responsibly. So in the worst moment when you need the airbag, you have it, but there'd be a lot less circumstances where you needed one if you stopped being a distracted driver, started slowing down,
Correct.
you know, not getting in road rage incidents. And so um,
Yeah, and
like,
and
I can definitely appreciate that side of the argument where they're saying, well, guns aren't going to help in the classroom. We need to stop these from happening. I'm like, well, guns may or may not help in the classroom, but yeah, I'm definitely interested in preventing this from happening.
correct. Yeah, because if it happens, whether there's somebody there with the gun or not, it's there's that's a lot of trauma, dude.
Hmm.
That's a lot of fucking trauma for the teacher who has to smoke somebody, for
Hmm.
the teacher who watched one of their students die and then
Hmm.
had to smoke somebody, for the classmates. Like, it still happened.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, responded to an attacker after the attack happened, but the attack still happened.
Yeah.
And that's the the issue with on the ERPO side, and that's the issue on the suicide prevention side as well. It's cool. You can. There was a dude from the mayor's office, Denver, Mike Johnson office, and that was kind of the conversation that we kind of brought up is, and he talked about it, is the politicians just want to add more fucking laws, but he can tell you that the communities within Denver, there's a lot of them like, well, fucking law or no law, I'm going to carry a gun, law or no
Hmm.
law. And I wish these humans would just get to a point where it's just like, the best we can do is get away from this idea of legal gun owner. I fucking hate that from the gun community, is I'm a legal gun owner. How about we just focus on responsible gun owner,
Hmm.
regardless if it's legal or not? Is because I'd much rather have a fucking Crip or whatever gang is out there right now carrying a gun that's responsible. It's as stupid as that fucking sounds, than a lawful owner that is super responsible. But it again, it kind of ties into this idea of, yes, but we have guns in classes, cool, but used to have kids that want to kill other kids.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like, if you really understood the law, you'd understand it's kind of low effort to follow the law. Even as complicated as some of the laws are, it's still relatively low effort compared to being a responsible gun owner, which requires a lot more effort on your part.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
more
so
accountability.
accountability
Yeah,
and paying attention to what you're doing all the time, and and I don't think I've ever met a single gun owner who has never made a mistake with a firearm.
yeah,
But there's clearly a different type of gun owner that's focused on the attitude of learning and responsibility and accountability versus like I met the law, I don't have to do anything else, or I get to do whatever the law tells me I get to do. So you get people walking around Starbucks with a SKS strapped to them because the law says you can. And um so yeah, I think I definitely get on board with the stop referring to legal or lawful. And I think that also, we've talked about this extensively, gets involved, applies when you're talking about using the gun against somebody and what the difference between what's responsible and what's lawful.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. So did you guys discuss the 50 video, or you just knew that the 50 video had come out?
No, well, I was part of it. So I
Oh, the
was
webinar.
there. Yeah,
Okay.
I was there during the webinar.
Yeah. Okay.
And then after that, we had a focus group with some leaders in the gun community. So it was like 6 of us that were there. Robin from A Girl and a Gun, myself, Pincus, the Pacific Asian, gun owners. I forget exactly how that goes. Um, the African American. What's that other one? The National African American.
NAGA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awfully fucking close.
It's the only way I can remember.
Just awfully fucking close. I don't know if they thought about that shit, but it's
Well,
NA.
they must have, because Dudley Brown came up with NAGA,
Yeah. Oh
so
yeah, hard R. He hard R'd that
hard
shit.
R.
National African American. So it
Gun
was
Association, I
Gun
think.
Association, some shit
Yeah.
like that. So he was there. Anyways, it was a.
What's his name? Is this the guy that's been around for a long time? Was this guy that we met in Atlanta?
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know. This was an older black dude.
Yeah, that
Uh,
sounds could be him.
I forget his
Yeah.
Phil. I think Phil is his name.
Phil. Okay.
And so at any rate, we had a focus group. We talked about it, and the conversation there was really how do we, when surveys are being done, how do we ask the questions better when all of this stuff is being done? And today was kind of that again, but with a different set of humans,
Mhm.
not just gun people.
Yeah.
And so yeah, participated in those. And I don't know, it's interesting for me. It's interesting to look at how they ask the questions, why they ask the questions, and then being able to call them out on the bullshit. And a lot of the questions they already knew. Yeah, this is bullshit, or lack nuance,
Mhm.
because it's really tough to ask the nuance shit on a survey.
Yeah.
So
Well, we know from extensive experience that just getting people to read and pay attention is difficult to do. So, um,
I'm telling
yeah,
you, fucking Linux just has a
just freaking out on you.
just fucking stupid ass
Um,
Linux.
so do you feel like that the progress on things like survey questions is happening?
Well, from the Fippy team for sure. I
Mhm.
think that I still believe, as much as I would disagree with individuals within Fippy, I
Mhm.
think Fippy as an organization is still um, true to the mission of, I don't care about politics. I just want to get this right.
Yeah.
So they're very aware of, and very open to having the conversation. Like, fuck, we probably shouldn't have said that, or asked it this
Yeah.
way, or we
Yeah.
should have asked that, or for them, there was definitely a lot of, oh shit, I didn't even consider asking the question that way, or
Mhm.
um, how do we segment the population, and all that shit. So I don't know. It just, from the Fippy team, I do think there's a lot of positive and a lot of moving forward. I don't know about nationwide. I don't know about
Yeah.
other organizations, but I think it's slowly getting better.
Well, we can only do what we can do. Um, but I think that there's an opportunity if you can show effectiveness to become a model um, for other states. And I think people have this idea that like you're going to get nothing but resistance anywhere you go, and I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of people who have a lot invested in actually finding real answers to stuff. And if you can give them a model that looks like it can do that, then I think you get a lot less resistance than you might expect. So
Yeah.
um I think it's pretty normal for people to see like the worst in a group, if they say, well, if we don't align politically, there's nothing that we can make progress on. But most people do want to be reasonable, and most people do want to look for solutions, I think. Now, whether or not they're any good at it, that's another question. And I think the FIPI group demonstrates a pretty high degree of competency when it comes to specialties and the ability to communicate and things like that. So every call I've been on, I've been really impressed with the way that people communicate with each other.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is that communication. And they're not afraid to have a conversation as long as it's going to be there's some sort of goal.
Hmm.
If obviously they're not going to sit down with somebody who just wants to talk shit for no reason, like none
Yeah.
whatsoever. They'll
Yeah.
accept the shit talking if it's constructive.
Yeah.
Are we moving forward? Does this shit talking have a purpose,
Hmm.
or is it just you venting? Um, and I think that's a big problem in our community. It happens in both, right? Like it on all sides in any context. But I think the gun community for sure needs to like um, RMGOs, many faults, many positives, but one of their big faults is they are vehemently against even encouraging people from storing their firearms properly. You
Well, they frame it according to their business model, which is anybody who wants to tell you what you should do with your guns hates freedom and should be opposed.
correct, and I agree with that 100% if it's the government.
Right.
I think if it's my brother saying, "Hey, dude, you've become a drunk,
Mhm.
and I don't want to bury you. We're gonna take your guns." Even with that, they're like, "Nah, just fucking be a drunk, uh,
Yeah.
and keep your guns."
Well, like I kind of try to pay a little bit of attention to this little beef they've got going on with Ava Flanell, and the way they characterize her, it's just this reactive, reflexive. Like we have a candidate that we want to promote, and anybody who opposes that candidate is friends with Gavin Newsom. And I say that because, they posted a picture of Ava on their Twitter
With Gavin Newsom.
with Gavin Newsom, like
No,
somehow she's
she was not with him. Jay
no,
just
but, like, it was
yeah,
like Mount Rushmore,
correct,
with her face next to Gavin Newsom's face,
correct.
next to some Colorado gun grabber, and so instead of just
Oh,
ignore
you know what they did? I know that post.
Yeah.
That post was she did not oppose the social media thing.
Mhm.
And she's not wrong on this. She's like, first off, I wasn't an elected official, nor did I think about running this office. What because she got appointed to it. She didn't win an
Mhm.
election, she got appointed to it. So her position was like, and it's a social media thing.
Mhm.
Like I get it, it could potentially hurt gun people, but it's not a gun specific thing. Oh, I appreciate you. Gun
Oh, it's a row
websites.
of ducks.
I
Row of ducks
appreciate
from
that.
gun websites, 2222.
Oh yeah, I
Mucho
appreciate
apreciado.
pop pop out that nipple, Isaac. You know how
I've
it
got
goes.
2 shirts on.
Well, fucking it was 22-22, so
Um,
I appreciate that, man.
yeah, thank you. Uh, yeah, so she was, like, not focusing on it, right? Is that
Yeah,
the beef?
it wasn't on her radar. Also, you and I both know individually we can't show up to every single fucking thing.
Yeah.
If this was my job, if I
Yeah.
was a lobbyist
not only that, but even the things that we care about, the things that we are going to show up for, I will be texting you, asking you to clarify something about the law or an update, something that's changed, how the process works, etc.
Correct.
And that's one thing that they went after her, saying that she didn't know anything. She had to text Ian Escalante, I guess, asking him questions about the bill. Um, like like looking for more information is somehow makes you a
How how
communist.
how dare she ask for more information from the
But
lobbyist organization?
but like all I see here is you have a goal, a political goal.
Yeah.
Somebody's in the way of that goal. You will take any means necessary, or I'm sorry, not necessary, any means available to you to destroy that person so that you can achieve your goal.
Yeah.
And that's the way that RMGO operates.
Well, and again, they have a lot of positives. I don't necessarily want to turn this little segment into
Yeah.
bashing RMGO, but when it comes to reducing negative outcomes with firearms and how do we reduce suicides, I think
Right.
especially more with that it's detrimental to our side when you have a very prominent organization, like him or hate him. I'm
Hmm.
neutral on RMGO. I've always been just neutral. Well, there was one time I super hated them, but I've been neutral on them ever since Taylor Rhodes has been involved with them. I think Taylor Rhodes is awesome. It's probably the best thing that has happened to RMGO in a very long time, and that
Hmm.
whole umbrella is Taylor Rhodes. Um, because Taylor Rhodes was at least willing to have this conversation. Taylor Rhodes was at least willing to come at this as like, we don't want government, fuck the government, but yes, we have a problem. Let's try and solve this problem. And
Yeah.
now the
Yeah.
position is, if you even say you want to try and prevent suicide, clearly you're a commie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's where it kind of hurts us on this side. And this is where these groups are like, for me, it's been good. Um, because I do get like that. I get very it's part of my trauma, and I'm trying to explore that a lot more. This idea of like hyper loyalty
Hmm.
to a fault.
Yeah.
Where like gun people are my fucking people, so it's my tribe and I must do everything to protect them. And then you find yourself doing some really weird shit that just like, no, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I can disagree with the policy side and still want to have kids not commit suicide. Like I
Right.
I don't that's it'd be
Well, just like working with FIPI, where you're working with people that you don't really agree with politically in any way, but trying to achieve a positive outcome. If you have organizations in the state that you disagree with the way they're accomplishing things or the way they're approaching things, it doesn't mean that you can't find points where you are going to work together if you feel like there's opportunity to create a positive outcome, you
yeah.
know. Um, uh, I'm pretty neutral on RMGO too. I'm a little bit irritated right now because I just found out about this stuff going on with Ava, and it's, to me, the big issue is this is just such an obvious error. You know, it's not even like, oh, you hurt my feelings. It's like, how can you make such an obvious error? How like how can I trust you as an organization if you're just going to make these errors, unforced errors? You know,
Correct.
that's the way it seems to me. So it's like a lack of competence is offensive when when you're supposed to be super competent. So,
Correct.
um,
Yeah.
but I'll get over it, I'm sure, and life will go on until it doesn't. So until the heat death of the universe.
It's all
Um,
meaningless.
so I wanted to answer Marty's question about 38 minutes after he asked it. But he says, or he or she says, have you touched on the subject that CHP classes require citizens to shoot better than post? This is not true, at least according to the law. The law does not require that you shoot better than post, because the law says that the instructor gets to dictate what the test is. And in post, there is a test requirement that
There's a
is dictated
standard.
by the post
Yeah,
program
there's
and the
an
state.
objective standard as
Objective
opposed to,
standard.
yeah.
Yeah. So there is an objective standard with the CHP class, which is you must score better than 70% on the shooting, but I can make the shooting as hard or as easy as I want to be.
That that uh that actually brings something. I won't say the name of the range. Um, but I had a student over the weekend, and two of them, and they were there. And they said they went to a range, and one of the
Was
dudes,
it Oh, was it a range that we've been to together?
yes.
Yeah. I actually read this person's post on Reddit.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So this person says we went to this range, and that the instructors there basically said very few people pass our test, and blah blah blah,
And
and
this was for a renewal.
this was for a renewal, and that
Yeah.
we don't hand out participation trophies. Basically treated them like shit. And he said, "Yeah, I missed like one or two from the circle. Like it was
Mhm.
still on paper, but I missed one or two."
The people conducting the test, the instructors, were according to this person trying to get them to shoot faster, 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 faster. Basically shooting to the point of failure.
Correct. Which whatever. I mean, I should know what my failure point is.
Right.
But if you're creating the failure to, it almost seemed, and I don't know because I haven't participated in it, so I always have to be careful. Like that's what the student said, because you and I both know what students say is a lot of times not exactly the way it went.
Mhm.
But it almost seemed like they were creating this fucking a weird money scheme,
Well, especially because they don't let you retake the test. You have to take the class again and you have to pay again.
and you have to pay again.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it'd be different. It'd be like, oh no big deal, you failed, but free. Take the test again, and
Yeah.
we'll redo this.
Yeah.
We'll help you get better. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't that. It was just like, fuck it, you lost. So my question to this person was like, okay, but what was the feedback? Oh, nothing. Like cool, you missed all that stuff, but why? I don't know. I was never told. I just know
Mhm.
that I missed. I shanked to low left or whatever the fuck they
Yeah.
said, and it was like, yes, I get it. That's a location, but what I'm asking is the instructor's responsibility at that point is to tell you why you did that. We can't do that to everyone, and some people won't listen to what you have to tell them. But these were definitely the type of humans like, no, I want to get better. Like I
Yeah.
genuinely want to get better, and I
Yeah.
provide a feedback to them.
So just a little extra part of that story that you
Go,
don't have,
yeah,
which is this person was posting in the Colorado Guns subreddit
yeah,
and just kind of just saying like, what's going on? What do I do? And a bunch of people recommended a bunch of different places that they could go. They're like, why
yeah,
don't you go check out Bristlecone? Why don't
yeah.
you go check out a couple other ones? I can't remember. And then there was one post, there was one post that was deleted by the moderator.
Oh no, he told me about that. He told me about it. That as soon
Oh,
as
so you
people,
didn't know.
yeah, no, he told me he's like, we actually found you by accident on this subreddit. Like, but as soon as people started saying nice things about you, the shit was deleted.
So of course I had no way of knowing what was in that post, but I had a pretty strong suspicion that somebody had recommended us, and then the moderators, like, so it looks like at this point that the moderators will only allow negative things to be said about us on
Correct.
Colorado Guns.
Correct.
So because there is still plenty of negative stuff about us out there on that
Oh
subreddit.
yeah.
So
As
yeah.
soon, yeah, he said as soon as they started saying nice things about you, that shit was deleted. Yeah, he did tell me.
Yeah. So
What a shame.
yeah,
What
what a
a
shame.
shame.
What a shame. Um, all right. So gun website says I would need to be convinced any.org in Colorado is worth a darn. They all seem connected to the one. I'm assuming he's meaning RMGO, or maybe big picture Nagger. And they don't seem very effective or have done nothing to deter bad laws. Objectively speaking, I don't think there's any way to say for sure whether they have been effective, because it's a very complicated situation to try to determine like where a failure happened or where a success happened. We've had lawsuits that have been successful but ultimately not as successful as we'd want. We've had failures in lawsuits. But ultimately, I think this still comes back down to the gun owners. Like, if we keep blaming the organizations, but we're letting the gun owners who would, sit around not doing anything off the hook. And you made this video a while ago. There's only so much they can do. And when the opposition is well funded and well organized and can take advantage of a small group of people who are extremely leveraged versus a large group of people who won't do anything to help themselves, I don't know if we could put all the blame on all these .orgs.
I will say that though, to that point of they haven't done nothing. I think they've done a really shitty job at that organization part of it, because I think they could rally people,
Mm-hmm.
but once they start saying, well, Ava's not good because
Yeah.
she didn't stroke my ego,
Yeah.
or don't hang out with Colorado State Shooters Association because reasons. It does, like it or not, every town is fucking organized.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers will all show up in the red fucking cheesy fucking shirts.
Yep.
They will all say the same thing. They follow the fucking script.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have found out what works, and they will follow the fucking script in every single fucking state. Every
Yeah.
state is the same thing. It's copy paste, copy paste,
Mm-hmm.
copy paste. And the gun people, because I do believe, because of the organizations, it's, well, I like this organization and the way they do it better, and I like the way they do it better and the way they do it better. And it gets to the point where we're just nitpicking
Yeah.
on what do we like, what don't we like. And eh, it's tough. I've talked about this, about mental health, where it's getting to the point where, like, well, the NRA has their own version of mental health now, and GOA has their own version of mental health, and USCCA has their own version of mental health. So it's all, everybody's just like, well, no, that's not the way we talk about it. It's just like, how about we just talk about suicide prevention?
Yeah.
Listen, you've been there in the meetings with me, and we're like, hey, doesn't really matter a ton, but at some point I'd like to get some credit for doing some of this shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty about it too.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
it seems to be the only thing they're worried about is who gets credit for preventing one thing or the other.
Yeah. You know what's kind of funny if you think about it? Um, type in gun enthusiast into YouTube, and I mean, you're gonna scroll for days on YouTube channels, and you got big YouTube channels and small YouTube channels, and lots of content and all kinds of sponsorships and everything. Go look up Colorado Ceasefire on YouTube. Go look up Everytown. They have their social media, but they're not using it. And we're somehow convinced that a social media presence equals, well, we should be effective, instead of doing things that are effective. So we're like, we're looking for clout, we're looking for credit, we're looking
Yeah.
for carving out our own niche, and we're not focusing on the strategies that work, like they are, because you go to their, I'll just do it right now. So I'm going to go to Colorado Ceasefire. Ceasefire on YouTube, and there they are with 10 subscribers. And let's go look at their videos, and their most popular video has 1,100 views, and that was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
But let's go look at Big Timber Lodge. Big Timber Lodge, 40,000 subscribers for a relatively new YouTube channel.
What is Big Timber Lodge?
He's just a Colorado gun YouTuber.
Oh, he's a gun YouTuber.
Yeah. So most popular video, not short, just video. Most popular video. Oh, now it's gonna freeze on me.
Stupid
YouTube being all
Linux.
buggy.
Sure.
Yeah. YouTube or Linux. No, it's probably YouTube.
It's Linux.
Yeah. Let's go.
You didn't put it in the terminal, dude. You got to fucking
You
you got a sudo.
Yeah.
You got to sudo that shit.
Yeah. but we got lots of big for Colorado
Correct.
YouTubers, and, and they're making videos every day and getting their clicks and selling their sponsorships and not being successful in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation before, and we probably don't need to have that discussion again. But that that is a big problem in our community is the gun tubers.
Mhm.
And I'm not talking about people who inform humans. I'm talking about actual gun tubers. I'm not talking about the Tony Simons. I'm not talking about the humans that are just trying to provide simple information. There's a lot of great YouTubers that are gun YouTubers
Mhm.
that are just providing information. I don't watch any of them. I just know of them and I've seen little clips of them. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome shit.
Mhm.
I may not agree with it, but it's still well presented and trying to just educate humans. But a great majority of them are just I'm awesome because just because. It's the
Mhm.
Kim Kardashian effect. Without minus being fine as fuck.
Also minus bringing all those rappers from jail.
Yeah, she's really good at that shit.
Yeah, effective somehow. Um, so, Yo-Yo Ma, thank you, the great Yo-Yo Ma, for joining us. Says, as someone else that found you guys through Reddit, those guys hate you with a passion, but they sure love sending people to instructors charging 200 plus for a CHP
Well,
certificate.
he is the instructor.
Yeah, yeah, but I do want to defend him here. Hey, if he wants to advertise on Reddit and it cost him 200 bucks to run his class, like, that's totally fair. Um, I mean, we have found out with these new requirements that we're pretty much losing money on these classes because it does cost a lot of money to run these classes.
Yeah,
And so I don't want to denigrate people who are charging. Somebody was complaining the other day, DCF is charging $150 for their concealed carry classes. You know what kind of margins these companies work on? I mean, it's insane how slim their margins are.
pretty
How
small.
close a lot of them are to going out of business.
I do still feel that an instructor who's profiting off of legally mandated classes is giving validity to the law.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a service, and I would never go to car wash and be like, it needs to be free. Uh,
Yeah. I I want a living wage for slinging coffee. Um,
for sure. So it is that battle of we
yeah.
do free classes for a reason, but that dude on Reddit, if it was just us, it'd be entertaining. But it's weird how he does it to Bill. I'm mad at Bill right now too, but for other reasons. But he does it to Bill. He does it to basically every fucking instructor out there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty pathetic
Hey,
marketing
that's how you know
strategy.
you made it, right? You got
Yeah,
haters, all right? So,
correct.
Joseph says a lot of division in the gun community, like a state prison, supposed to be in the same boat, but different sides trying to row in circles. Yeah, I mean, just spinning our wheels. Um, and And I don't know what the right answer to it is, but I'm trying very hard to avoid participating as we talk all this trash about other people. But I'm really trying to get to the idea of how do we work together? How do we accomplish things? And trying to identify the things that aren't working.
But
Um,
see, I think here's the difference between us. Not that I'm trying to justify our hypocrisy, because there is a level of hypocrisy. One, we know what it is,
mhm.
we understand what it is, but also we've always operated, even before we had um, the word or the phrase. We've always operated under like, I don't need to like you to work with you.
Yeah.
We've always worked with people we don't like, we fundamentally disagree with. It's one of the very first people that I worked with in the gun community was Asp. What the fuck's his name? John Correa.
John Correa.
I'm not a big fan of his teaching styles. I'm not a big fan of what he does. I think for self defense, he's slightly detrimental. Um, but there is a positive that he has provided for the gun community.
Yeah.
The rally at DC Um, yeah, it was. I do believe it was a great 2A event. That rally that we had out in DC.
Mhm.
A lot of people I spoke with there, I don't like.
Mhm.
Not a huge fan of, but it is. There's still value
Yeah.
in what they do, and there's some humans who just don't have any value, and 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 we have we have to accept that.
Yeah, wake up and look at him every day in the mirror. You
Yeah, little
worthless
bitch,
human being.
you fucking piece of shit.
I make
And
sure and tell him every day too.
yeah, he fucking waves back. He's fucking
Yeah. The
look at that.
nerve to tell me the same thing. Um, yeah. So, and something else, and I know this is gonna sound like I'm trying to,
I
uh
appreciate the $10.
yeah,
Super
awesome.
duper
Thank
appreciate
you,
that.
Mr. Yo-Yo Ma. John Korea also does this big training summit every summer, and it's to support foster care, for his locale. It's
Yeah,
in Oklahoma, so trying to leverage all that attention into something completely unrelated to guns,
yeah.
which I think is positive,
Positive, yeah.
in its own way. Um, so yeah, so let's talk about this meeting on Monday night. I was invited to speak at the Pikes Peak Firearms Coalition um, board meeting. I think it was the board meeting. I don't really know. I was invited by one of the board members months ago, and he basically said, "Hey, we're meeting, and I'd like you to talk about the concealed carry training requirements."
Is this
And I'll do
Justin?
anything. What's that?
Is this Justin?
Yeah, and I'll do anything for Justin. Justin's been not only he's a great guy, but he's also just such a sound businessman, and he
Yeah.
really understands the practical side of running a gun business in the state of Colorado.
Yeah.
And so of course I agreed, not having any idea what I was agreeing to. so so I show up and I'm early and he's telling me that he can't stay, he's got to go, which I already knew ahead of time. And he starts introducing me to people as they come in, and one of the first people he introduces to me is to Jeff Crank, and I'm like, wait, why is Jeff Crank here? If you guys don't know, Jeff Crank is one of our U.S. representatives in Colorado, and I'm like, okay, so this is a U.S. representative. Hi, I'm Isaac. What are we doing here? And then he tells me, and then Justin tells me that I'm the keynote speaker, and I'm like, the what? I'm like, I am not prepared to be a keynote speaker. Okay. So then we go into the banquet room and I start meeting a bunch of more people. And now I'm meeting Colorado representatives, Colorado senator, some people running for office, running for school board. And then I turn around and there's Sheriff Joseph
Roy Ball.
Roybal from El Paso County. And I'm like, well, this is going to be interesting because I'm definitely going to be talking about the sheriff's departments in this state and what's been going on for the last couple year or so. So uh it was kind of funny because I met him and I didn't really know what to say to him at first. And I said, how are things going down at the sheriff's office? And he kind of looked at me like, are
Are
you
you
playing a
serious?
game? Like, and I was
You
just
know
making
you know how
conversation.
many calls they got because of us?
Yeah. So uh he kind of looks at me funny and I'm like, why is he looking at me funny? And it almost looked like he thought I was messing with him,
Yeah,
but I wasn't. I was just trying to make conversation, just trying to
yeah.
make small talk. So I get invited up to speak and I do a quick rundown of what the old laws were and what the new law is, and the new law for new applications and new law for referrals. And then I kind of went into the instructor verification process and talked about a couple of the problems with the law, dictating curriculum and standardizing testing and all this stuff. And then I mentioned that one of the problems we've had, and we've had it all over the state, is with the sheriff's office implementing this. And I gave him a way out. I said that the state legislature put a burden on them that was really unfair, and that all the sheriff's departments had to scramble to try to understand and how to implement this law. And what I was trying to say is that this has been negative for the citizen
Right,
because the sheriff's department was put in a bad situation and the citizen was put in a bad situation. The politicians didn't really care. And
Which objectively speaking is 100% true. You weren't trying to kiss ass.
right.
It is a fact that lawmakers did not give a fuck that the poor single clerk that works at the fucking local sheriff's office was going to have to implement a bunch of new stuff and learn the law and figure it all out.
Yeah. So I talked about how the sheriff's departments, we've struggled with the sheriff's departments to get them to understand the law, and that it's been an uphill battle with some departments. And, and I wasn't specifically calling out El Paso County, but I did list El Paso County as one of the offices. So I was saying Adams County and Larimer County and Weld County and Denver, in Arapahoe County and Jefferson County and El Paso County and Pueblo County and La Plata County. So I just listed off the counties that I know that there's been some friction with. And I also mentioned that El Paso County, for some reason, is still taking 6 to 8 weeks to get an appointment. And so as I'm talking, the senator stands up and he says, "Would you mind if I said something real quick?" And I said, "Yeah, go ahead." And he basically turned this into a campaign speech for two of the candidates that were there. This is why you need to vote. This person's running in Pueblo. That's a winnable seat. This person is running here. Tom Sullivan is terming out. We need to win that seat, blah, blah, blah. And he just goes on like, and then of course he says, which means we need money. So remember to donate tonight. And while he's talking, I'm kind of looking at him. I'm like, this motherfucker, and I turn and look to my left, and Sheriff Roybal is now standing right next to me. Like, I didn't see him get up. I didn't see him get up. He just appears next to me. And
Fucking materialized out of
yeah.
nowhere.
And I go, oh, he must have something to say, So after Senator whatever his face is sits down, I said, obviously Sheriff Roybal has something to say, so I'm going to let him talk for a little bit. And Sheriff Roybal goes on to explain that Isaac is an impatient person. He's like, our office, because I had mentioned that I used the word fight. I said we fought with the sheriff's office. We fought a bunch of sheriff's offices, and he's like, we weren't fighting with you. You were being very impatient, and I was like, yeah, I definitely was being impatient.
Yeah.
I'm emailing you multiple times a day, definitely.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to say that he's, like Jared Polis hates him, and that he's one of the only sheriffs standing up for our freedoms. And we had already talked about the licensing scheme to buy semi-automatic rifles, and so he said, that he doesn't like the law. He hates the law. He testified against the law, but the law is now a reality. So you can count on El Paso County Sheriff to be the fastest county at processing the new licenses. And his point, which I don't entirely disagree with, although generally I disagree with, but his point was to say that if we stop participating and buying guns, then we basically like lose market share in the political debate. So if we just give up and stop doing the things, that we lose our ability to fight back. And like it's complicated. That's a complicated thing to say. And it's kind of like, I don't believe in voting. I'm not going to vote anymore. And then nobody you want ever gets elected. And you're like, okay, well, it's not an easy yes or no thing. So I understand that in his head, I think he has a point. I don't agree with it, but I get where he's coming from.
Correct.
But he made a promise that El Paso County is going to be approving these licenses in one day. And it occurred to me that not only is he doing damage control for the things that I said, but he's up there campaigning for his next term, which he doesn't even really have to do in El Paso County.
Did you get to rebuttal?
Yeah, well, I thanked him for saying what he said. He sat down, and the first thing I said when he sat down was, we did argue, and it's okay that we argued. We got to a resolution from the argument, and I am impatient, but I'm impatient because we're representing the citizens who are not being served. I didn't talk about the licensing thing. I didn't want to.
Did you get a hip hip hooray for that? Because
no,
that's a fucking
no. I got a lot of blank stares. And then I launched into how gun laws were actually stopped in this state between 2013 and 2021, and what the strategy that worked was, and that was recalls. And if there's one thing that politicians do not want to hear about at a fundraising event,
Is
it's
recall.
recalls. so so I get up there, I start talking about recalls and how effective they were, and et cetera. And I answered some questions, and I went and sat down. And one of the the senator, when I mentioned the recall thing, he's like, "Hey, we're past the point of recalls." He said, "The legislative session is over. We can't." I'm like, "So we'll do one next
Next year.
legislative session." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, he's like, "We really got to focus on voting." And I made the point, like, voting is not going to. We're in practically a supermajority. We're not voting our way out of this at this point. We're not voting new people in as a way out of this. So after I sat down, one of the candidates tapped me on the shoulder, and she said, "I understand what you're saying about recalls, but we really need to get the right people elected in the first place." I'm like, that is just not going to happen. There's no
Appreciate that.
chance
That
that we're going.
$2.
Oh, thank you. Hold on. Kaiser Gaming YouTube. All right. I think I got it. So there we are, like bending over for the dollars, right? Stopping my entire train of thought to say thank you. That's how it works. What are you going to do? So I wish I had recorded this because I feel like there was a lot more to that whole conversation, but it cracked me up that I turn around and the sheriff has got to get up and do damage control after after what I said. So,
Well,
um,
it's unfortunate. Somebody suggested, I forget who it was, that comments quite a bit on the YouTube channel,
mhm,
that we should have. I think it was either Roybal or Weld County Reams on it.
mhm,
And Reams we've invited, and he flat out ignored it. And I wish they would come on and do damage control. I'm okay if they come do damage control. I don't like people who go into the fluffery.
mhm.
Um, like fluffery belongs on Pornhub, and that's about it. Like that's it. Everywhere else, it's questionable.
Well, that's
But
the thing. I think as a politician that they're just kind of wired to be thinking of, is this good for my political career or not? Not, is this good for the citizen?
yeah, but I think, well, we need to change that. I mean, maybe, but we got to get to a point where I do believe that there's a lot of humans who appreciate their candidates going on and answering real fucking questions instead of
Yeah.
playing softball.
Yeah. Well, I think it's wrong for them because I think um for all the flaws that Trump has, I think he demonstrated how effective it can be to sit down without a script and let somebody just ask you questions for 3 hours on a podcast that goes out to millions of people,
Yeah,
like he did on Rogan, like completely unafraid to sit there. Now, did you like his answers? I don't really. That's not the point. The point is that with no preparation and no fluffing from a team ahead of time, he just showed up, sat down, and just talked.
correct.
And Vance did the same thing, and
And he did that on fucking, the weirdest one was with Theo Vaughn.
Theo Vaughn, yeah,
Yeah, when
yeah.
you know you're gonna get fucking cocaine questions and
Yeah, yeah, I've listened to a few Theo Vaughn episodes lately, and I was like, "This guy has no boundaries at all,
none
dude."
whatsoever. None.
Um, so, yeah, so he says, "Crazy for everyone to start campaigning on your time when they all fold like a deck of cards." To be completely honest, this is their time. This is Pikes Peak Firearm Coalition's time. I'm a guest,
Yeah.
like they gave me the time to do it, but I'm there at their
Do you think
pleasure.
you're gonna be invited back?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if I wasn't invited back, but I will say this. I was sitting at a table with Mary Bradford. She's a representative from Southern El Paso County.
Uh-huh.
And, I got some feedback from a few people in the room that wasn't so hot. But when I sat down, she just looked at me and smiled and she said, "Great job." And that's all she said. And I was like, "Oh, thanks. I appreciate So this other one that was talking to me about how we need to get the right people in, she told me that we need to register people to vote in our classes, and I was like, we do not even have time to do the stuff we need to do in the classes, I'm not going to waste time registering people to vote. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure that's completely the right attitude, but I'm like, that's not what I'm there to do. We're there to learn how to defend ourselves with handguns. So,
Yeah, I'm not
um,
here. We're not a campaign stop.
yeah, yeah. So, um, as a keynote, yeah, yeah. I mean, it didn't. It was not lost on me that I was interrupted as the keynote twice by a couple politicians who were trying to wrangle up some
Where
support
the
and some
fuck is
money.
that one star guy? Where's that one star guy? Let's find him.
Invite him to the next dinner.
Shit's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Um, so anyway, it was interesting. Something cool that happened was there's a school down here, St. Mary's Academy, that has a shooting team. They're the only school in the state that has a shooting team, and they do. It's a high school. They do trap and skeet, I think. And they might do some other shooting as well, but that's what they were talking about. And they compete nationally, and sounds like a really good program. And so they were fundraising for that, and Pikes Peak Firearms Coalition gave them a bunch of money to support what they're doing. So it's pretty cool. Not only that they have the club or the team, I'm sorry, but that they're very successful. So
But what's
um,
the high school called?
St. Mary's Academy, I think.
St. Mary's Academy.
Yeah. So there's other states where a lot of schools have shooting teams, but Colorado, this is the only school that has a shooting team. So
Interesting.
yeah. Let's see, St. Mary's
It's not the
Academy.
only. It's not the only school that has a shooting club, but it is the only one with a shooting team.
Correct. Yeah.
Got
Yeah. So, um, and one of their members has graduated and is on the Olympic team, I think,
nice.
and is a gold medal contender. I'm not sure if it's for the Paralympics or for the regular Olympics because he was mentioning that she had a disability, but um,
Oh,
yeah. So I think, yeah, maybe they're in Cherry Hills, not in Colorado Springs. But it sounded like they were in Colorado Springs. So anyway, I barely know Pikes Peak Firearms Coalition. I met a few people. I met some very nice people. I met a woman who is an election judge, and I spent good 30 minutes having her help educate me on what election judges do and how secure our elections are in El Paso County. So I learned a lot. And
yeah,
yeah,
Pikes Peak. They've always had a nice little group of of humans. Very small gun organization here in the state of Colorado. Um, and it seems like they do a lot of community work
yeah.
fairly well. Lobbying they super suck at. Um, but I
Well, if
did
they're
meet a
inviting
lot of.
me to a lobbying meeting,
Yeah, if you're the keynote,
yeah.
obviously they suck.
Yeah. So
But
Justin wasn't there for it, and he asked me afterward how it went, and I told him, and he laughed about it. So at least I got him on my side. um, but the political machine is something that I'm not ever going to really understand, and that's their realm, and I'll let them do whatever it is they're going to do in their realm. But if they're going to ask me to talk, then I'm just going to say what I always say. So um,
yeah, and I think that's kind of the unfortunate thing, and this is why we're not very popular. This is why we're not huge. Is we have a really difficult time at conveying to humans. We say this without emotion.
mhm,
We say this not because we don't want to be friends. We say this not because we don't want to work something out, not because we don't want to be friendly. We say this because this is what the fuck's going on.
mm,
It's no different than when we say the sky's fucking blue. That's a fact. Let's have a fucking discussion as to why it's fucking blue. And then we could talk about how light refracts and the fucking atmosphere and shit like that. But what these humans do is like, well, you said something that goes against me, so obviously you hate me. Like, no, that's not it. Let's have a conversation about this. But you motherfuckers shut down all the fucking time, like all the time. We can't
mhm.
we can't continue. And this is not just sheriffs. This is everybody, right? This is anybody who we've ever had a disagreement with. It's instantly cut off.
Yeah.
Like it's an instant
Yeah.
fucking
So,
cut off.
yeah, as an example, Roy Ball calling me impatient, like, absolutely.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
like, no argument for me there. You're not hurting my feelings. It's absolutely true. And I'm actually self-conscious about it. Like when I jump on the email and I'm like, do I email them again? Like I don't, but so it's not even something that was news to me. I knew I was being impatient.
Yeah.
Um, and if I was sitting in his chair, I'd probably be sick of me too, you know? So,
Yeah. But I mean that's what the fuck. A big reason on why we do this shit for free is a protest to the bullshit laws, to the
mhm,
bullshit process. We don't agree that this process exists. Let me rephrase that. We don't want this process to exist.
mhm,
We vehemently disagree with this process, getting a concealed handgun permit. That's why I think people who profit off of concealed carry classes are just giving their stamp of approval to
required concealed carry classes.
correct. Yeah. If you're doing regular defensive classes, good for you. Yeah. But when you're doing the CCW mandated courses for profit, you're fucking that. I approve of this process. That's
Mhm,
basically what you're saying. Again, make your money, capitalism, all that awesome shit. But it's we do this as a protest. Like that's quite literally why the fuck we do this shit for free.
mhm.
It's the only reason we're still doing it. So it would be batshit crazy if we took people's donations and then when they got denied unlawfully, we just sat back, be like, well, yeah, it's the way it goes.
Yeah. Well, I guess the sheriff must be right.
It's the way it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
This is why I appreciate people like what was that lady's name? Cindy.
Yeah.
Cindy. Um, she's not an organization. She was just an instructor who passionately wanted to fight for her student, and she did it, and
Yeah.
she fucking did it like
Yeah.
that
So,
fucking gives me a chubby wubby.
speaking of, Kaiser Gaming YouTube says, "I went out and got signatures against Eve, Hudak for recall years and years ago. I'm pretty sure she ended up just stepping down." I don't remember that one. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, Evie Hudak was a representative out of Arvada, if I'm not mistaken. She did end up stepping down for, I guess, other reasons. But the recall was unsuccessful. The
Was that
recall,
part of the recall with Morse and,
it
what's
was
his
it was
face?
afterwards.
It was afterwards.
It was
Okay.
afterwards. It was once this was successful,
Mhm.
RMGO was like, "Oh shit, there's money in this." Um, and
I
they set
like
up
money.
and they set up an office. It was in Arvada. They set up an office in Arvada for this recall,
Mhm.
specifically for this recall. So it was the year after or 2 years after that, and it was successful in that it pushed her to resign, although you can argue that she was probably gonna resign. It's crazy how many, reps and state senators resign. Um,
Yeah, what's her name? Rose,
many of our reps and senators are appointed, not elected.
yeah.
The number is fucking staggering. If you do a quick Google search on how many, there was just a news article on the crazy high level of representatives here in the state of Colorado that are appointed and not elected.
This is what democracy looks like. Um, yeah, Rose Pugo, I can never remember how to pronounce her name. She stepped down. What's his face stepped down, didn't he? Or is he terming out the guy up in Weld County? Um, yeah, so it's an epidemic. Joseph says all 64 sheriffs should have testified against SB3, but if that happened, I'm the Pope. Many of them did, but I hate to be so cynical about it, but I really think that this was just politicking. I think this was generally speaking, they knew that their testimony didn't matter to the legislature, and if they didn't know that, then they should have known that because it hasn't mattered so far with any of the other gun laws. Um, so it's
So as
basically a
just really
campaign speech. So,
Yeah, just really quick, sorry. As of
mhm.
January 2025, an analysis found that at least 21 members of the Colorado General Assembly had been appointed at some point via
Jeez,
vacancy committee. In
jeez,
2024, at least 29 state legislators have been
Gah.
appointed. So that's a huge fucking number appointed through vacancy committees.
Dang, dude. Dang. Um, yeah, they saw that they were going to get more, so they asked what to help there, and then when they were going to have everyone out, they came back for HUDAC afterwards, but she stepped. Yeah, that recall effort was extremely successful, even though we didn't get everybody. It because Morse was supposedly in a relatively safe seat, and if I recall correctly, and so him getting thrown out was surprising, I think, to the Democrat Party.
Well,
And
even
I
in Pueblo, right? Like, because it's in Pueblo, it's a majority of the independents vote Democrat in Pueblo.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and when she got recalled down there, I can't remember her name at the moment. When she got recalled, that was a big like, what the fuck? But
yeah,
they forget that these are JFK Democrats. They're not fucking Joe Biden Democrats.
yeah.
So a lot of those JFK, what do they call them? The something dogs, the blue dogs, or
Blue
the
Dogs, yeah.
yeah, like those motherfuckers are like probably more strapped than Dudley. Uh, they
Yeah.
a lot of those Democrats down south are like Dudley Brown is a fucking commie.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I really wanna drive home the point that if we were organized, and I say we gun owners, we're organized,
but also GFE.
but also GFE, um, and could convince the Democratic gun owners that there was value in replacing Democrats with other Democrats, knowing that the message was put across, "Stop taking away our
Mhm.
firearms." I think we could be successful, but
Yeah,
that would require us to work with people who we are being trained to hate, uh, without any, like, real critical thought. So, Giron, yeah, thank you, Tisha, um,
yeah.
or Hiran,
Angela Giron.
Giron.
Giron. Uh, i- so obviously the uphill battle is now you're going to have an RMGO who's like, but they're Democrat and
Yeah.
they like the other stuff.
If you if you had a Democrat a grassroots centrist Democrat organize a recall campaign against Tom Sullivan that actually recalled Tom Sullivan, RMGO would probably not support it.
And the unfortunate thing would be because they support gay marriage or they support
Hmm.
whatever, and it's just like, but it's a gun issue.
Yeah,
Like
you're a gun
you're
organization.
a
You're a
gun
gun lobby.
organization.
So
Stick to the guns. Stick
yeah.
to the guns. Stick to the guns.
So,
Stick to the guns.
and I'm not trying, like, again, I'm not trying to, like, shit on RMGO. It's just the point that if you're
Yeah,
dogmatic about how you approach this, then even if something's successful, you're more inclined to not support it because you're just tied up in your business model or your activist model and doing things that don't work rather than identifying new opportunities for things that do work.
right.
So, um, for those of you listening who don't remember, after those representatives got recalled, we didn't have any new gun laws in Colorado for 7 years, and that was with a Democratic assembly and a Democratic governor. No gun laws for 7 years, and it was only after the Boulder grocery store shooting and some interesting, I would say, scouting work by the party to see if Coloradans were going to respond the same way again, and then they didn't. That we then started to see the avalanche of gun laws back in the
Yeah.
state. So
And boy, was it an avalanche.
yeah.
Boy,
So and
was it.
it's going to be worse this coming legislative session. I'm absolutely sure about that. So
Will Colorado change in the next years? If so, in what way? Well, I mean, in terms of guns, yeah. I mean, we're inching pretty close to full on registration. We're inching pretty close to um I'd say we're gonna go past California
mhm.
and go straight to almost Massachusetts. Because if I'm not mistaken, Massachusetts is a little worse than
It depends
California.
on the on where you are in the legislative
Yeah,
session, I think. So
yeah.
yeah.
So it's in that. I mean, obviously, Colorado is going to change for many other reasons that are not gun related. economics and other stuff. But I've been careful to talk about my campaign to primary Lorena Garcia, um, just because it does affect my work with FIPI. So I don't know if I really want to fully commit to it just yet. It has been announced. I am an active candidate um, to unseat Lorena Garcia in House District 35. So I technically am a candidate. I haven't been super pushy about it just because I want to be strategic about how this goes. It
Plus, you don't
doesn't
want
mean
them pulling up all your dirty laundry again, right?
oh, I don't. That shit's
No,
out.
I'm just kidding. I know you
That
don't
shit
care.
that shit's out. Actually, the lack of attention I've been getting from the gun community, I'm like, please never post,
Yeah,
talk shit about me.
yeah.
My insecurities are fucking killing
Yeah, you're like
That's
that
how
kid in the classroom that keeps, like, tearing the posters down, like, "Come on, somebody look at
it's
me,
so
please."
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so fucking pathetic.
Nobody pays attention to me at home. Yeah.
And it's and a lot of it has been this not fear, but definitely concern about what we just talked about, right? It's because if anybody listening and reads between the lines, I'm primarying a a human who is an incumbent, Lorena Garcia. You can look her up. So I'm going to primary her, and again, it's not that I'm not taking it seriously. I am very serious in the intent to unseat her because she's super anti-gun and and not a super awesome human all the way around. So there are efforts to do just that, is
Mhm.
unseat anti-gun humans and replace them with pro-gun. Um,
Oh, that's funny. Man, this just
uh,
keeps happening to me.
that's fucking hilarious.
That's
That was
funny.
fucking funny. That's fucking awesome.
That was a good one. Oh, by the way, if you guys don't know, Gun Websites does a lot of YouTube content and is a walking encyclopedia of guns, gun law, gun history, gun community history. Um, been doing a lot of stuff with Tony Simon lately. I see you a lot live online, and so
Yeah.
if you are if you like listening to people like that know a lot about what's going on in this space for the last at least 20 years, probably longer. Um, yeah, gun websites, and you go live like at least once every couple of days. The last time I was listening to you, I was actually in the shower after I just got home from a class. So him and
That's
Tony were talking, and I'm in there, and I'm like, oh, I should grab my phone and like comment. so, um, so yeah, check out gun websites. Um, yeah, any more to say about that? All right.
nah.
I wanna show you a video.
Not after I was shamed.
Yeah. Yeah, where can you go from that? There's nowhere to go. Um, all right, so
Uh,
I'm gonna share this window. Is it this one? Yeah, share, share. Okay. Gotta make sure I'm sharing the right one. All right. Are you seeing the Oh, there we go. Yep, this one's
whoa,
good. Yeah.
whoa, whoa.
All right.
Oh yeah, this one's good. This
Have you
one's
seen
good.
this?
I actually saved it for the same reason that
Okay.
you're yeah.
All right. So, in our defensive training, we talk about the body's natural responses and
Hold on, this is hilarious.
oh, did he say something else?
Our target audience is not dudes in the shower.
Whatever. Tony Simon podcast from the bathtub. So, um, if he's not on camera, it's probably because he's naked.
Not the
So,
shower, not the shower.
oh,
Bathtub and shower are
yeah,
different things.
yeah. Um, so in our defensive shooting classes in the IDS curriculum, we talk about the body's natural response to a threatening stimulus, an unexpected threatening stimulus, especially. And this video demonstrates that pretty well. We showed this same type of response in other videos. Um, but what's going to happen in this video is that somebody's going to have a bottle of soda or something explode, and all these Asians here are taking a test. It looks like, and I'll just play it. So you saw, like, in that explosion, everybody brought their hands up in a protective posture. Their heads came down, shoulders came up, and then everybody in the room looked
Looked.
towards the direction of the stimulus. You just look
Correct.
at where everybody's focusing their attention right now. So, but what's
Play
interesting, I
back.
thought,
Play back right there. When did it happen?
uh,
Oh shit! What exploded?
yeah, it looked like it hit him in the chest. It's this guy right here,
Yeah, but what exploded?
some kind of bottle. So actually, I'm gonna
But
put
it comes
some.
from his crotch.
Yeah, I think he had a bottle between his legs or something. So
Why would you have 2 bottles? That these are the level of questions I have.
yeah, I know. All right, so we'll play it in slow motion.
Even the chick that puts
Yeah.
her head down goes down a little bit more.
This is always the issue with playing it in slow motion.
Yeah, come on, do it already. Whoa.
So, what I
See,
thought was
it's that like, that protective motion because she already has her hands up, right?
yeah,
The one that is right next to her,
right, him
right next
her?
to him? Yeah.
Yeah,
So, because I get this a lot where we're like, "Well, she didn't do it." It's like, first off, you're looking at 1 out of fucking 100 humans here.
yeah,
But she already had her hands up. She already was in that kind of protective, and she does move off to the side. So
yeah,
she definitely moves off to the side.
and then looks immediately towards the direction of the stimulus. So,
Correct.
um,
Correct.
so we'll try to stop it right at that moment. He shifts his body weight. That's probably what happened. So her shoulders do move right
Oh, yeah,
there.
for sure.
Yeah,
For sure. We've all I've always it, it's so interesting when humans are like, "Well, I don't do that. I was in the military and I shot 13 people in 1
yeah,
second." Like, first off, you don't have a video of you shooting 13 people in 1 second.
mhm,
And also your response is not the same as your reaction.
yeah,
So like it's two completely different things. Everybody here had a response.
right.
Um,
So let's watch him for a second. Watch his response. Because of all the people in this room, he's the
not
one
his, you're
who
not
most
focusing on his.
quickly understands what happened,
You're not
right?
looking at his reaction. You're looking at his response.
Right.
Correct.
So the reaction is his hands coming towards his chest,
Correct.
and then his response is to immediately get up and, like, whatever's going through his head here, it looks to be pretty obvious that he knows what happened to
Correct.
some degree. Like, the water bottle or the soda bottle just got me wet, right? So that's that response, get up, separate myself from this. But everybody else is still trying to figure out what
Figure out
happened.
the fuck is going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Process the info.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it's so difficult to convey this idea that even if you had a gun, this would still be your reaction.
right.
Your response would not be immediately draw the gun. Your reaction would be figure out the fuck is going on and then respond to it because the reaction is automatic, a response is automated,
Right.
and you training to shoot someone in a controlled environment does not apply to this context because your brain's still trying to figure out, yes, I got it. You have a gun, you know how to use it, but does it apply in this context? And that's where the hippocampus comes into play. Is it's trying to figure out, does that apply in this context? And hopefully you wouldn't shoot the fucking
The
water
kid with the
bottle.
water bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you explain, like, briefly, how we incorporate this into the class and why?
The startle response.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing is before you go to the gun, your body does something. Like there's always that processing of information before you go to the gun. So for us, it's this silly thing, and I still think it's fucking silly, but I know why we do it. It's the react command. It's that we say react or up or whatever, and before you go to the gun, you have to do what the body does naturally, which is lower that center of gravity, hands come up protectively, look towards the target, orient your vision towards the target, um, and then once you've identified the target, draw the gun.
Move and draw.
Yeah, it's not just you heard the beep, draw the gun instantly because you have to get the sub 1 second draw.
Right.
Like I don't
And
even know what the fuck is going on. I first need to know what is going on, and
right.
part of being intuitive is doing with working well with what the body does naturally.
Right. So, I mentioned move specifically because of the next video that I'm going to show you. Um, so I was watching one of the active self-protection videos. I still watch because there's always new videos. Like it's the easiest place to find new videos.
Yep.
But John Correa specifically called out that a fast time on the gun is still important. And his point, he said, a lot of people will say that there's no timer and the stimulus, you can't time the stimulus and all this stuff. And he's like, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your ability to go from the decision to draw to the ability to shoot. But what's missing from that is the movement.
A movement. Yeah.
So, and how far do you move? Because
Well,
if you're timing it, right? If
yeah.
you're timing it, then you need repeatable parts of the movement that you can do so that you get an accurate time.
Yeah.
So how far do you move?
Well, the reality is that it's going to be circumstantial. Like
Right.
it's
So how can you time that?
yeah, and that's the problem with timers is
Right. You can't if we say, "Well, I'll add movement to my draw." Well, how far? At what point does the movement give you the ability, the advantage to shoot?
correct.
Depends on the circumstances.
Correct.
So, let's go to the next video. Oh, I have to share this. Hold on. Window, share, share. Boom. Okay. So this is classic. Like I love this. The guy's in the full, and I know the resolution's not great, but it's going to get better. This guy's being robbed on the street, and he's got his hands in that surrender position. Like
We call it
people
the
say,
Frenchie.
yeah, like that never happens. Well, it does happen sometimes. But let's just watch this real quick.
Full extension.
Bam.
Did he get shot?
Yeah, dude is bleeding badly.
Oh, he's gushing, huh?
Yeah, all over the sidewalk.
He better fucking get a tourniquet.
It's better if he just looks at the direction that the bad guy went. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning here. All right. So this is drawn on a drawn gun. Okay.
Always tricky.
Always tricky. And does seem to get this little advantage where he pushes the bad guy off and does successfully get his gun out one-handed at contact distance. So high five to this guy, not with his hand that got shot off, but other hand. So he gets a shot off, it looks like, right around here.
Correct.
Okay. Obviously using his sights.
Obviously.
And the bad guy repels backwards. And so we're seeing that tendency to go to extension, although he's not really doing it. And he doesn't have two hands on the gun, but no movement. None. Just standing there. And then our bad guy is hauling ass down the street.
So this guy gets shot here.
Yeah.
That's when he gets shot.
Right. So
He
the
didn't
bad
get
guy
shot.
is
Yeah.
in close to a full sprint and shoots just kind of like in the direction of where his threat was. And that's where he gets shot right there.
The dude, did he survive?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Based on the behavior that we saw towards the end
Probably
here,
not, huh?
it's probably not. Yeah. Um, but like that decision to get on the gun and get it out and shoot was really fast.
And he still died.
And
Well,
he's missing the major part, which is
correct,
don't stand still, like get to a position of advantage, which he had a position that he could have utilized with this
correct.
vehicle.
This is I'll make a quick little video about this, but we should spend some time talking about this. Um, I kind of made a video and I talked about this. I think it was last week with this idea is something better than nothing, and I would argue here that if he did die, unfortunately, we don't know yet.
Mhm.
The fact that he had a gun escalated the situation instead of de-escalated. Like we can make an argument that he'd probably still be alive if he didn't have a gun. It's a shitty thing for me to say as a gun person,
Mhm.
and I'm not saying just be a victim and don't defend yourself, but it seems like he made the wrong decision to draw when he drew in the way that he drew.
And maybe he did and maybe he didn't, but he
Correct.
certainly didn't
Correct.
make it he didn't improve his situation after this moment right
Correct.
here.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that he would have stood a much better chance of surviving if he had moved aggressively, laterally to get to this position of advantage.
Or
Um,
or just run home, like,
or run
fuck
home,
it.
or not shoot one round at a time and see what happens. Because there's a bang right there, and then he comes back, and then a bang right there. Now, like, if this guy's not shooting back at him, then he really does have the advantage right now. His gun is out, it's up, he knows where the target is,
Yeah.
and he's got an advantage here that he's not exploiting. He's
I I
shooting 1
I s
round at a time.
I see this quite a bit. I don't see it a lot, but I do see it more than one would think, is this idea of shooting, stop, shooting, stop, shooting, stop.
Mhm,
I wonder if and it's just a thought experiment now. I wonder if humans do that because they think, because how many times do you have, well, if you start shooting, bad guys are just gonna die, they're gonna collapse.
mhm,
And these humans all of the sudden see a bad guy run, which is the most common thing we see, and then they're it's almost like a what the fuck, he's not doing what I predicted he was going to do.
right,
um so then they stop and then they go again, stop and go, and a lot of it, or I'm sorry, is it these humans who do train on a timer, who like to perform? Because how many students do you get that love to perform instead of just apply the skill in context?
right, right. Yeah, I mean, what makes all this difficult is you
Yeah,
can't
you
really
don't know.
even ask the person
Correct.
and get reliable answers from them
Correct.
because they may not know why they did what they did. And that's why I think it's really a you gotta be really careful with evaluating videos like this that you don't jump to conclusions or
Correct.
draw conclusions that you really can't know. Um, so we say, well, he probably would have had a better chance if he had moved around the car, but we don't know because we're only looking at one angle here. We do know that he stood still, and we do know he got
Yeah.
shot with basically a wild lucky shot. Um, as the guy is at a pretty far distance. He's
Yeah.
probably at about 10 to 12 yards at least when he takes this shot, probably further. It's just hard to tell on video. Um, he's fully sprinting down the street and he's shooting in a direction different from what he's running in.
Correct.
So one thing we can definitely draw a conclusion from with a video like this is that getting into a gunfight is really dangerous.
Fucking dangerous.
And bad luck counts just as much as good luck does,
Correct.
because that was a lucky shot.
Yeah, the bad guy was not that was not skill. That
Yeah.
was super
But
lucky.
it might have been an easier shot because the guy wasn't moving. It might have been a more difficult shot if the guy had just gotten down behind his position of advantage and come out in a different spot if he chooses to continue to shoot.
Yeah. Well, the other
So
guy was moving, so moving and shooting is tough.
right.
So it's definitely all luck. But yeah, he didn't help himself by just standing there.
Yeah. Um, and the decision to defend, like, is it better to walk away? Is it better to fight it out? Um, and I see what you're saying, but like that's another thing that we can't really
Yeah. Yeah, for
evaluate
sure.
because we don't know what he's processing in the moment. We also don't
Correct.
know what his value system is. If his value
Correct.
system is like, I ain't no punk, you're not going to talk him out of that.
Yeah.
Um,
And we can't guarantee that the bad guy wouldn't have shot him anyways.
right, right.
So like for correct, like right, it's a little too late to the what ifs and the maybes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And even if he and this is another thing that I saw in this one is like if he continues to shoot here, again, we're off camera, so we can't really tell, but it does appear that the bad guy is turning his back to him as he's running away. And it would make sense that he's turning his back to him as he's
correct.
running away. And this guy might be thinking, well, don't shoot him in the back. Um, but obviously, even though he's running away, he's still dangerous. And so there's this other element of like what's moral to do and what is tactically sound to do. And those two things may not line up in the moment.
Correct.
Because if you have it in your head that it's not a fair fight to shoot somebody in the back, like, okay, well, they can still hurt you, they can still kill you. Even though this guy, I mean, he gets shot in the arm, and you're like, well, if I'm going to get shot anywhere, I guess I'd take it in the arm, and it hits him in the artery. So, like, um,
It
anyway, I just felt like this was a really good example of um, the risk of standing still in a gunfight,
correct.
especially when you have a barrier available and possibly the time to use it. Because after he shoots these two or three shots right here, and he's deciding what to do, he takes this shot. Like this could have been time spent moving laterally as he's presenting the gun.
Correct. Correct.
Um, so yeah.
Correct. Well, and then he didn't slap up and then take 3 steps back. Right, because I think that's what you're supposed to do, right? Like karate chop him up
Yeah.
and then take 3 steps back as you're shooting backwards.
Yeah. Well, what we do see though is that initial that that surrender posture, and then when he goes to the gun, if you look at his left hand, it
This is
looks
where
like he's got his hand on the bad guy's gun for that
yeah,
moment.
this is where, I'm kind of in line with Craig Douglas,
Mhm.
where it's I don't think he advocates for it. It's probably one of my misunderstandings of Craig Douglas. I don't know that he advocates for it, but he definitely talks to a degree as far as if you are going to do this, you gotta sell it. Like, you can't just try and fucking judo your way out of this shit, like, you gotta try and sell, right? Because you see him doing like, "Yep, I'll give you the wallet.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna reach for it really quick. It's over here. What you want is here."
Mhm.
To get their brain thinking about like, "Oh, he's just gonna give me the wallet. No
Yeah.
big deal," and then, "Surprise, motherfucker." I don't know, there's no audio here, but it definitely doesn't seem like that's what he did. It seemed like he was trying to surprise and beat the timer,
Yeah.
instead of, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you the wallet."
Yeah.
Because now you don't have to beat the timer.
Yeah.
There is no timer to beat. It's quite literally, I just have to sell it to you psychologically that I am going to my wallet and I'm gonna
Yeah.
give you what you want.
So if our bad guy's lifting his shirt up here, which it looks like he might be doing, it's hard to say, but it does also look like both of their attention moves towards that right hip
Correct.
as that shirt comes up. And
Correct.
so this could have been a thing where our guy's saying, well, he's about to find this gun. So I'd rather him find it with my hand on it, pulling it out
Yeah.
rather than just let him, try
Correct.
to take it from me and then do
Correct.
God knows what with it, right?
Yeah.
But again, that's getting into his head, and
And we
we
don't
can't
yeah.
really do that.
Correct.
Um, so but we see with the posture of his hips, he is making that space, but then
With
he
this
doesn't
dick,
continue to make the space. He
like,
goes all like
with
John Wayne here.
just with this butthole, like, the only thing the only thing you wanted to separate from that dude is not getting fucked in the
Yeah,
asshole, but let me put my face next to your
yeah.
dick really quick.
Yeah.
This
Uh,
is this is what my uncle taught me to do.
so, um, But when I first saw this, the first thing that really stood out to me was the consequences of standing absolutely still.
Yeah.
Um, and 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 then the question of how far do you move? Well, how far does it make sense to move in this context?
And by the way, your limbic system is the one probably deciding all of this shit. This
Right.
is why you have to give your limbic system a a um a repetition
Hmm.
of it.
Of
Um
the protective posture, you mean?
of even the lateral motion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the quote unquote get off the X is you got to give it some sort of repetition because the limbic system is kind of like you've seen those robots where like you program it, you go to one spot and then you program it really quick and you go to another spot, you hit the fucking program, go to another spot, and then once you hit the start, it fucking goes to the spots where you told it to go.
Hmm.
So what people would call muscle memory, it's not super muscle memory. It's sure it's neurotransmitters and all that shit, but it's also your limbic system, your hippocampus primarily remembering, oh, this is the thing. Here's the context. Here's the move that you practice. Now this is the context in which we use it. And a lot of people think that me just knowing it and doing it really fast, it's valuable because
Right.
performance.
So to put together the whole picture, what we're trying to get to in the defensive shooting class or the IDS class is that when your body goes into that protective posture, it is a stimulus to then uh, prepare to do the things that you're going to do next. So look, and once you've determined that there's something that needs a firearm, that the stimulus of looking and identifying a threat is should trigger the response of accessing the gun and moving.
And moving.
And the way we do movement in the classes is you're responsible for what's going on around you. So part of
Yeah,
that movement may be that you need to assess what's going on next to you as well as what's going on in front of you
correct.
so that your brain is thinking of the world in a 360-degree environment rather than a paper target in front of
Correct.
you and the repetition of just presenting the gun to
Yeah,
the target. So that when the stimulus says access, when the stimulus triggers access firearm, the brain is also doing assessment and movement in order to find the best possible position to fight from should it be available. And at a
correct.
minimum, not be standing in the same spot you were.
Correct. So you don't improvise it.
Right.
Right, because his defense looked improvised. Again, we don't know 100%. We don't know. Maybe that is the level of training he had.
Mhm.
I always go to a place where you will find more evidence that you don't fight like you train because your limbic system kicks in, and once your limbic system kicks in, um, it's not going to follow a fucking routine. It's going to do the most efficient thing, right? We've talked about this countless times.
Mhm.
So but your limbic system wins every single time. The best thing you could do is try and help it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So again, do things that fit well with what the body does naturally.
correct.
Um, so fighting evolution is a losing proposition under this specific type of stress.
Correct.
Um, it's why they have control, like in the cockpit, especially the more advanced aircraft. In the cockpit, they have lockout things for the I can't remember what the stick is called, not the yoke, but the stick, and they have lockout too for other controls, but they know that once that stress hits a certain point, you're not even aware that you're still on the stick and that
Yeah,
you might be fighting with the other pilot who's also trying to input on the stick.
yeah,
And um so like they're aware of this thing that yeah, you're you're trained your body to control the aircraft with the stick, but you have not trained your body to manage that stress appropriately. And so your body's going to keep repeating a movement that is in fact not only not working but probably making it worse, and you don't even realize that you're doing it.
correct. I
um
play with the stick a lot when I'm stressed too.
yeah.
So like
I think what's that line
it helps.
uh Tropic Thunder? I'm just a kid, I'm just like a little kid playing with my dick when I'm nervous. So um but yeah, that's why it's so important to acknowledge what the brain and the body want to do under these circumstances and do as little as possible that fights with that, and do as much as possible that leverages those things. So that full extension of the gun um, follows the path that the hands want to do when they perceive a life-threatening threat. If your hands are going to go into a fighting posture, they're likely to go all the way out into that fighting posture.
Yeah.
Instead of standing there like a cool guy with your arms bent and your back slightly tilted and your feet in the sexy pose and your tight jeans and um, all that stuff. So,
Correct.
um, yeah, so
But
I've been successful in finding videos that are actually useful.
yeah, there's a lot of them that are even not gun related, kinda like that soda pop
Yeah.
explosion where it highlights what the human nature really is,
Mhm.
and it really shows our very primitive, instinctual stage as humans,
Mhm.
period. It doesn't fucking matter who you are, how many, um, Medal of Honors you have, and how many fucking silver stars and purple bronzes and all that shit you have. We all came from the same source.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the fuck you believe in. We all came from the same source. You cannot do better than the source.
Mhm.
Like you can't. Like there's nothing you can do better than the source. You can add to it, but you cannot change what the source already did. Like unless, but even that you would have to get into an accident in order to fucking. But now you're just brain dead or um some sort of legit retardation and all that
Yeah.
shit. Uh,
Yeah. Well, taking a bullet to the frontal lobe, that might do it.
that might do it, but then
Um,
you can. Oh no, she stopped being uh, a rep after that, right?
no, 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 she went back. Yeah.
Gifford went back.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Proving that you don't even need a whole brain to be a US representative. So, or any politician,
or any
really.
politician.
Uh, Shout out to what's his face, Shrek. Um, what's the guys from Pittsburgh or from Pennsylvania? Um,
Ooh,
the guy who had a stroke and still got elected. Come on, somebody in the
uh,
chat, maybe. Um, Big ogre looking dude. How come I can't remember his name?
I think I know who you're talking about. The dude that fucking
He wears
shows up to his
basketball
PJs.
shorts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dude shows up in his PJs. Yeah, that dude's interesting, dude.
Yeah, well, he's
Uh,
getting better too. He is recovering actively. So,
yeah, that dude is he doesn't say a lot of smart shit, but like it's fascinating to see his where his career has taken him.
yeah. Well, I think one of the most interesting things I ever saw him do was when he was on Rogan, and he had his little machine that basically puts closed captioning on everything everybody's saying
Huh,
because he can't hear and process, but he could read and process.
huh,
And so you're seeing in real time when the closed captioning is working, he's able to formulate reasonable Fetterman. There we go.
Fetterman.
Um, Thank you. He's able to formulate more reasonable thoughts, but when the closed captioning is not working, he just can't. He just had to say, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Can you say it again?" You know, and that was like a year ago. So I think he's continuing to improve. Um,
Well,
but
and this is we talk about an anti-politician. I think that's the fucking poster child
yeah,
for anti-politician. Like, and that's what fascinates me is just like this human got elected. He is a Democrat
hmm
and whatever, but even now he's like, yeah, the Democrats are being fucking retarded. Like they
yeah.
don't. These guys are fucking
maybe we,
being.
maybe we could get him on the podcast.
We should. I mean, we should.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
So, all right. Well, we've covered some good ground here.
Yeah.
And thank you, everybody in the chat. Very much appreciated. Good to see you again, gun websites, and the other people we haven't seen as often. Joseph, good to see you again. Joseph always comments on my videos, and I haven't made a new video in like a few weeks. So I appreciate him showing up. And yeah,
Marty.
Marty,
Yeah.
Kaiser Gaming, YouTube, Yo-Yo Ma, of course. Um, Guns for Everyone or gfenational.com/membership. or memberships. Is it membership or memberships? I've got it right here.
Uh,
Membership.
membership.
Yep. Or gunsforeveryone.com slash legal dash fund.
Correct.
And if even 100 people were just to give a $3 monthly donation, Edgar would be able to afford more food. Because
I'm
he's wasting
disappearing.
away at this point.
Fucking wasting away.
But yeah,
Can't
we
eat.
appreciate you guys. Chris, thank you for joining us. And
Yeah, thanks
we'll be
for the
back.
super chats.
Yeah, thank you for the super chats.
That
Absolutely.
that helps out.
And we do have classes. We have concealed carry cup, and we have we have the stuff and the things. Go to gfenational.com and look at the things that we have coming up. And I have classes in the Springs. Edgar's got classes up in the Denver area, and yeah, still kicking.
Still kicking, still doing stuff, still pissing off the Reddits.
Yes, amen. And they piss me off too, so it's fair, right?
It's fair. It's fair.
I shouldn't let them piss me off, but they do.